Ayanda Nyathi, who joins us now live to give us the very latest from the Justice College. A very good morning to you, Ayanda. So quite a lot being stated by Mr. Raphesu already, even when coming to the PKTT Section 27 matter, where he went on to state, quite frankly, that when asked whether the PKTT aspect formed part of that Section 27, we had heard, of course, from Advocate Johnson that it hadn't. But he goes on to tell a completely different story.
And we'd always anticipated, Mfundo, that he'd sing from the same hymn sheet as Ms. Ramsamy, who appeared before this commission yesterday. We understand that that original Section 27 referral, he had an opportunity to just peruse through it. And he says during that interaction, he got the sense that he had a limited amount of time, but does remember a few details, including the PKTT that you speak about and the names of a Sergeant Dlamini and Sindiso Makaka, the former ANC Youth League leader, who we know was shot and killed. Speaking about, that testimony from Ramsamy and this one essentially running parallel, this particular witness in Mr. Raphesu also raising concerns about the lack of truth, for lack of a better term, in Advocate Andrea Johnson's testimony when she appeared before the ad hoc committee. Take a listen.
I was watching when the ID was presenting it ad hoc. So there was a point where she indicated that PKTT was not part of the Section 27 referral. So that is when now I started looking at it differently, because I was shocked because the Section 27 that I saw, that information was there.
When you say,
Were you shocked because she had misled the ad hoc committee? What exactly shocked you about what you heard or what you saw?
I was shocked that the information that she was putting there was not entirely correct.
Don't be diplomatic. It was true or it was false? Entirely correct means yeah, but not everything. It was true or it was false?
It was false.
All right, so there you have it. Once again, this is reminiscent of what we also heard from Ms. Ramsamy, who appeared yesterday. Canny Maphanga, our senior reporter, has been also listening into today's testimony, and she joins us now live. And once again, Canny, that discrepancy between that Section 27 referral that these investigators say they got and what the Madlanga Commission ultimately was shown.
Absolutely. We now get confirmation under oath that the original statement was that of the one that included the political killings task team. But I find it quite interesting that Raphesu adds that it also included Sindiso Makaka, names such as that in the original. And if we look at the overall allegations so far and how they connect with one another, it wasn't only IDAC that was being placed in the center of this alleged narrative that top cops were being targeted, such as Lieutenant General Dumsani Khumalo and General Fani Masemola. We also heard of that kind of alleged plot in other streams of evidence with relation to Brian Mokhotsi and what would have taken place at Kat Matlala's residence during the Operation Takedown, and of course the manufacturing or the filing of those cases that were alleged to be false cases in order to find a quote-unquote breakthrough, if you remember that sentence, against these particular generals that were closing in on the alleged criminal cartels. And it shows us that at the very least this investigation had nothing to do with what the witnesses, particularly Pariachi and Advocate Andrea Johnson, were trying to advance before the commission, and of course Johnson through the ad hoc committee as well, because we do see that the real issue here was the political killings task team, or the real probe was the political killings task team. their quote-unquote lavish stays, accommodation or whatever. And the targeting of, or the alleged targeting of the political killings task team or generals through the political killings task team cannot be read in isolation. You have to be looking at the kind of work that they were doing during that period that would have led to this kind of alleged counter against the political killings task team. So although this advances on IDAC, it also draws us closer to other evidence that has been put before the Commission in other streams that give meaning to why the PKTT became of interest in terms of the opening of cases, getting the quote-unquote breakthrough, and then how IDAC also finds itself in the middle of that alleged factional battle within the South African Police Services.
Yeah. We were told it is a web of corruption, so I do imagine there are overlaps as we also make sense of these different streams. Interesting to hear from Raphesu speaking about how when they were getting a briefing around what we now know was project disclosure, diversion, I beg your pardon, that even amongst the IDAC officials, there was discomfort about who knew what and when.
And it was clear that only certain people were to know what was in the Section 27. And again, it begs the question, how did you expect him to investigate the matter if he never had sight of the Section 27 referral affidavit, to the extent that Ramsamy allegedly had to sneak it to him in an opportune moment for her to do so that he could have a peek of it, and he still didn't even get a sense of what it was about. But it's them, the investigators, that get the overall task of gathering the evidence that would support such a claim. It's quite a bizarre manner in which to do things, but you can read into that alleged conduct that perhaps there maybe wasn't a case to start off with, and this was allegedly part of that recurring narrative that allegedly these cops were being targeted by any means necessary. Because if there was nothing untoward about the Section 27 referral affidavit, it makes no sense why an investigator that is tasked with gathering the information or checking the veracity of the claims would not have sight of that Section 27 referral. How then do they gather the information? How then do they do a thorough investigation that informs whether or not you move on to the authorization or not if they do not have sight of the Section 27 referral affidavit? There's even evidence from Raphesu that there was some form of squabble between Belichin and Perumal as to who would be the lead investigator, meaning that this matter had long been discussed before this team had been formed. And it feeds into this alleged sinister motive, the manner in which things were done, so secretive, not giving out the information. And if everything was above board, why didn't it follow the prescripts as expected from a unit that is designed to fight high-level corruption?
The more we hear about what allegedly took place at IDAC, the more it seems pretty much impossible for this commission to continue its work without hearing from Belichin and Perumal.
It would make sense for the two, specifically Perumal, to give his version, because the kind of correspondence that Ramsamy has shared shows that together with Johnson, they were key to this project diversion. And this is the project that is alleged to be engaging in unlawful conduct, if we put it quite frankly, and he is alleged to be a key role player in that. So he needs to explain what informed this case, how did he get the statement from Fadio Adams, the second one, in light of the fact that Fadio Adams has since reportedly filed a complaint against him. And he needs to explain the operational methods that they followed and where they got the instructions from to do things in the manner in which they did and to what end. And that will get you closer to whether or not IDAC form part of this alleged fight back in terms of the PKTT, because we're now zoning in that this was really about the political killings task team and getting to certain generals using that and then adding other investigations to that effect. And that is what Ramsamy testified to, that it was allegedly an orchestrated attack by Perumal and Johnson. So I can't see how the investigations would continue without these individuals. And Sunil Belichin is quite important because he also faces serious allegations before the probe of extortion and alleged improper conduct in the Eastern Cape that do not inspire confidence for someone who's supposed to be working in an anti-corruption unit, and then you are knee-deep in allegations of corruption in the Eastern Cape. So certainly that information would have to come through as well.
Ironic, isn't it? But Canny Maphanga, let's leave it there. Thanks very much indeed. Canny's our senior reporter here at the Bridget Mabanda Justice College. We do know, of course, that as of yesterday, there was an announcement that both Billiton and Perumal have also been suspended as the Justice and Constitutional Development Department, as well as the NDPP, works towards what they're calling a reset of IDAC. This particular witness's testimony will continue at around 11:40. That's 20 minutes towards 12 o'clock. I will certainly keep watching these developments for you from here in Pretoria.